Hey everybody, how's it going? It's a Daily Shooter, and about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I picked up this Smith & Wesson SD40VE. I think it's a fairly nice looking gun. I like the stainless slide. The slide serrations are great. It has great ergonomics, feels really good in your hand, and I haven't had any issues with it. As a matter of fact, I bought this used, so I got it for a really good price, and it was in great condition. So I'm happy with the pistol overall, but the second I left the store, I realized, now I need a holster for it. Just like every time you buy a new pistol, if it's not interchangeable with something else, you got to go and you got to get a new holster, which means you got to start shopping around for something, right? Well, I decided to go with something that I had a little bit of experience with, so I decided to go with a GearCraft holster. So this is the holster right here. This is for the Smith & Wesson SD40VE. As a matter of fact, it's interchangeable with the SD9VE because the outer tolerance are, for the most part, the same. So it works in there just as fine. You can switch between the two if you have both guns. Now, GearCraft holsters, I've been using them for a while. As a matter of fact, I've had this Glock 19 holster for almost a year now, and it worked really well for me. This is an inside the waistband GearCraft Glock 19 holster. Worked out really well. The only reason that I don't use it anymore is because I put a Trijicon RMR on my Glock 19, and it won't fit right there. So anyway, I had to kind of retire that, and somebody's already claimed that if you were wondering. But I also had the matching magazine holster. This is also a GearCraft magazine holster, and all you have to do is just tighten the retention a little bit, and it works perfect with the SD9 SD40 magazines. So wanted to show you that as well. So that's what I decided to go with, and I'm really happy that I did because this is a nice holster. You know, there's certain requirements that a holster has to have for me in order to like it. One, it has to have good retention. This is definitely not the most important one. I guess we should make sure that this is safe before we do anything. That is a loaded magazine, but the chamber is empty, so we'll just verify right there. Again, no magazine, nothing in the chamber, and this does have a disconnect right there, so it won't go off if there's no magazine in it. Okay, so back on to what we were saying. Right here, you can see that it has pretty good retention. You know, I can hold the pistol upside down, I can shake it, it's not going anywhere, so the retention is good. The retention is adjustable through these little screws right here. All I have to do is tighten those down to get the extra retention, loosen them up a little bit, and kind of relieve some of that tension. So it is adjustable, but retention is one of the priorities for me when I'm buying a holster. The second one is how well does it cover the trigger and the trigger guard. I think that's the most important one. If you're going to buy a holster, how safe is it? How safe is it going to make that trigger? I've seen some where it actually leaves the rear exposed. Maybe something could get in there, I'm not sure, but it leaves the rear exposed or some portion of the trigger exposed. It doesn't cover it all the way. You can see here that this one actually covers the trigger completely. So nothing's going to get in there. Nothing's going to cause this gun to fire when it's in the holster. It's not going anywhere. That's front and back. Another thing is how well does it interact with the magazine release, because I've also had some guns in the past where the pressure is actually on the magazine release. The cut was right there, and so when you put it up against your body, it would release the magazine. This one right here doesn't do that. As a matter of fact, it doesn't move at all. So those are some of the major features that I look for. Now, another thing that I look for when I'm looking for a good holster is whether or not it has a good belt retention system. Do they use a metal clip, a plastic clip? Do they have some type of attachment device? Do they have loops like this? Are they too small? Are they too big? Are they interchangeable? I mean, look at all of those things. And depending on how you like to carry, that, you know, you could go a different way than I did. But these are a little bit larger. They're kind of enlarged over, you know, like a standard belt loop. And that's great. This is actually something that's really nice because it allows me to go from my standard EDC belt to a tactical belt to a competition belt that might have multiple layers of scuba webbing and other material on it. Those tend to be very, very thick and sometimes hard and in some cases even impossible to weave through holsters. So having a little bit larger loop like this means that A, it's not going to come off because it's a completely enclosed thing, and outside the waistband, that's what I like. I don't think there's a need really for outside the waistband to have a clip on it. But still, I like the loops. They're larger, so I can go from belt to belt to belt without having to worry about whether or not it fits. On some of my smaller belts, like EDC belts, it's a little bit loose, but not too bad. Now, there's other things that you can look at on a holster, and those are more preferential. Do you want a sweat guard? This is a really nice sweat guard. It does cover up the entire pistol, so nothing is rubbing against me when I'm putting the pistol in or out. As a matter of fact, if my shirt starts to become untucked, or I'm wearing it untucked, I can use this sweat guard to tuck my shirt in behind the holster so that it's not going to actually get stuck in the trigger guard. So that's another thing that I like. But again, that's more of like a preferential thing, whether or not you like to have a sweat guard or not. As you can see here, the inside the waistband also has a sweat guard. And on a pistol like this particularly, I think it's actually a good idea. And that's one of the reasons is because these can kind of get on you and chafe you a little bit. They're a little bit more aggressive than a lot of the other textures that are on the market today. Obviously, this is kind of an aftermarket deal, but still, even this is not as aggressive as what is on here. So anyway, this is a GearCraft holster, really nice. I think a lot of people would enjoy this, and I'll put a link in the description box, so definitely check them out, especially if you have a pistol like this. Go to their website and see if they have your model. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and have a great day.